Good morning, everybody. Here we are again. It's day 29 of the Democrat shutdown, and things are getting really tough for the American people. The Democrats are coming near now to a cliff that they will not be able to turn back from, and it's of great concern to everyone who's paying attention to all this. You will note that more air traffic controllers and TSA agents and park rangers are about to go without a paycheck. You've got families and children that rely upon SNAP benefits that are going to go hungry here at the end of the week. You've got more critical workers, by the way, including the people who are the stewards of our nuclear defense arsenal, who are forced to stay at home as the government remains closed. The Democrats own every one of these consequences. So we want to point out a couple of important facts this morning for you. It's no coincidence that polling this week confirms that over 70% of the American people believe the Democratic Party is out of touch. And amazingly to us, still every day, they turn their backs on more and more hardworking American families to prolong their pain. And that is exactly what's being felt here. It is incredible to us that they've now voted 14 times between the House and Senate to reject the clean, simple funding bill that would simply reopen the government. 14 times they have thumbed their nose at the American people in spite of their pain that they themselves have acknowledged. And as we've explained here, the motivation behind that is very clear. And this is why the polling is indicating what it is. The people know the Democrats are responding to fear. It is their fear of the most radical far-left voices in their party that has made them decide to obey the demands of the far left and to shut down the entire government and thereby inflict all this pain on the people. And almost comically at this point, the Democrats are still out trying to convince you that this is somehow Republicans' fault. But the facts are the facts, and the American people can see that very clearly. They see the truth. We brought you a handy scorecard here so you can, follow the votes. I mean, this is very simple. The votes to pay the troops and federal workers and continue SNAP benefits and get air traffic controllers and Border Patrol agents paid. This is the vote tally. You see the dates here. The House did our work back on September 19th, and we voted, Republicans voted yes. Democrats voted no on all those things, and the Senate has now done it an additional 13 times. These are the votes. No one can say that this is in any way the fault of Republicans. We have a clean, simple bill, and everybody knows it. House and Senate Democrats are openly admitting that this is their shutdown. You have seen the highlight reel of all of them stumbling into admitting that. And yet they're also incoherently claiming that the shutdown is somehow on the fault of the other party. And the people aren't buying it. And that's why the polling continues to show that the approval of Republicans in Congress is rising with each passing day. And the Democrats, at the same time, Democrats in Congress have the lowest approval rating they have ever had since polling began, since recorded polling began on these metrics. And here's just an example yesterday. For example, CNN polling showed yesterday the approval of Republicans in Congress is up 8% since the shutdown began among independents. I mean, that's an important metric because people are paying attention. They understand what's happening and they see who is responsible. It's a really important thing to watch. Ronald Reagan used to remind us that you can always trust the American people, and we do. We trust their intelligence, and we trust their understanding of basic civics. In fact, we trust the American people's understanding of civics far more than the Democrats in this building right now. And a quick reminder of that is that the people know that in the House of Representatives, you need a majority vote. You need 218 votes to pass legislation, to pass a clean, continuing resolution to fund the government. That's exactly what we did on September 19th. They also know that in the Senate, you have to have 60 votes to pass substantive legislation. And we've only got 53 Republican seats. That means we need, by the math, at least 7 Democrats to join us to reopen the government. Now, in other words, the Democrats are the only reason that the government is closed, and there is no other way to spin that, to make something else true about it. And of course, the Democrats know all that. We've seen their party leaders, and we've now made their phrases and their comments famous here every morning. Chuck Schumer, Whip Catherine Clark in the House. They've openly admitted that they're using the pain of the American people as their leverage. Why? To show to their base that they're fighting. And they're counting on the American people not noticing all this. And that's the very reason why we have to come in here every morning and relay the simple truths. I mean, somebody handed me this as I was walking in here. Yesterday, according to the Media Research Center study, by a 2.5 to 1 margin, the Capitol Hill press corps has tweeted more about the House calendar during the shutdown than the negative consequences of the Democrat shutdown, than the troubles that we have, the hardships that are being experienced because of the troop pay and WIC funding and flights grounded and SNAP funding. You guys are writing more about the House calendar than the real pain that's being inflicted on the American people, and that's why we have to come in and relay the simple facts. Now, there's a misguided strategy that the Democrats are pursuing right now, and it reveals two important things that can't be glossed over. Number one, it shows they have no cards to play except to try to blame the other team, which is ridiculous, and it shows how little they think of the American people. They had a rally a couple weeks ago. They tried to portray President Trump as a king, and we pointed out, again, the obvious truth. If the president was a king, then the government would be open. He's been trying to do that, and low-income families would be getting the food assistance that they need by Saturday. Republicans cannot wave a wand and reopen the government on our own. We must have a handful of centrist Democrats in the Senate do the right thing. And any Democrat suggesting otherwise knows exactly what they're doing, and they insult the intelligence of the American people. And by the way, every reporter in this room when they do that. Unlike Democrats, Republicans have nothing to twist or spin. We are just simply here relaying the simple facts and the truth. And the American people are responding to that. And that's why the polling indicates that they trust us more than the other side, because we are the ones here telling you the truth. We have nothing to hide. They are trying to obscure the facts. And by the way, the biggest unions are beginning to say the same thing. On Monday, the largest union of federal workers, the American Federation of Government Employees, came out, as you saw, and publicly urged Democrats to join Republicans and pass the House's short-term funding bill. The union president said, quote, "A strong America requires a functioning government, one that pays its bills, honors its commitments, and treats its workforce with respect by paying them on time." Amen to that. Of course, we agree. But it wasn't just the AFGE. You had the same commentary, the same plea by the National Association of Air Traffic Controllers, the Coalition of Airline Pilots Associations, the NetJets Association of Shared Aircraft Pilots, the Allied Pilots Association, the Southwest Airlines Pilots Association, the leader of the Teamsters, and the New York Steamfitters Union. They're all coming out. These are the constituencies that the Democrats claim that they support, and that's why the unions came on side of the Republicans in the last election. They've had enough of this nonsense, and they've all called on Senate Democrats to end this shameful shutdown. And it is a shame. The Democrats need to be publicly prodded by their millions of hardworking Americans to just simply do the most basic function of their jobs. A rational person would read the pleas of the federal workers and conclude that it is time to end the charade and turn the lights back on. But the Democrats are not rational right now, and they've deliberately ignored the plight of all these federal workers around the country. People are going to remember this, and they should. I want to quote to you a couple of senators over there on the Democrat side. Listen to this nonsense. Senator Mark Warner, the senior senator from Virginia, and this is noteworthy because Virginia is the state with the largest number of federal employees. He claims that federal workers want him to vote against reopening the government. He literally said, quote, "I think they want us to fight this." Fight what, Mark? What are you talking about? We have a clean CR. This is not a partisan dispute. It's ridiculous. Senator Tim Kaine is the junior senator from the same state of Virginia with the largest number of federal employees, and he said, quote, "I work very closely with them, and the AFGE would not want us to cut a deal." What the heck are you talking about, Senator? There is no deal here. We're not talking about a deal. We're talking about a clean CR that all of you voted for even as recently as this year. Here's my favorite one. This is the best quote. When asked about the AFGE statement from the big union, Senator Jeanine Shaheen said, quote, "I had a conversation with the president of AFGE earlier, right after the shutdown, and that was their position then." So let me just translate for you. Senator Shaheen spoke with the head of the largest federal employee labor union. The president of that union explained to her the harmful effects of a shutdown, and then Senator Shaheen went out and voted to close the government anyway and continued to do that more than a dozen additional times. Senate Democrats knew the pain this would cause. They knew about the missed paychecks. They knew the uncertainty of making rent for so many people. They knew about the missed meals. They knew about delayed flights. They knew that our nuclear arsenal and our national defense would be negatively affected by this, and they did not care. They shut the government down anyway to appease the far-left voices of their base. And the Democrats have some soul-searching to do. Are they going to continue to do that? Are they going to run from the far left and do their bidding? Or are they going to do right by millions of federal workers and the American people who continue to show up to work daily without pay? Are they going to do right and reopen the government so that those people are taken care of instead of the Marxist far-left base in their party? That is the question. And we pray that Senate Democrats come to their senses before the situation becomes too dire. On Saturday, this gets very real. SNAP benefits will stop flowing to all those who need it. You're talking about tens of millions of Americans at risk of going hungry if the Senate Democrats can continue this gambit. Instead of taking a simple vote to fund the government, which Senate Democrats have now had more than a dozen opportunities to do, Democrat attorneys general are suing the federal government to try to compel SNAP benefits to flow despite the government being closed and despite the fact that there is no money to do that. Congress hasn't authorized that. The contingency fund for that was something they batted down when the Democrats decided to vote against the CR and shut the government. For Democrats, there's a much easier option on the table. Just go do your job and fully fund all these programs and all these categories of people by voting for the CR. That's it. You don't have to do anything for Republicans. Just do your job for your constituents. Until Democrats recognize the pain that's gone on for so long, Republicans will be in their districts helping their constituents clean up the mess that Democrats are making and help them make ends meet and help them find the assistance, the food assistance, and all these other things that they're going to have to rely upon. And joining us this morning to discuss the Democrats' shutdown impacts on our national defense and on foreign affairs is our great chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and a decorated veteran of the U.S. Army, our good friend, Chairman Brian Mast. Brian?
Thank you, Speaker.